Welcome back to Button Down Gaming. My name is Jay, and I am playing with myself. So last time we beat the Sorrow, a little tutorial battle, and now we're actually going to go out into the real world. So now, after 4 episodes, most of the tutorial stuff, like the basic tutorial stuff, is done. And I hope you don't mind, but I've been talking a lot, so I brought some water up here, so you may hear me drink from time to time. But let's go through the portal. Man, I guess the Spectre is the only thing left in my mind now. When you expend effort in either conversation or crises, you spend points from your might, speed, or intellect pool. Oh shit.
Where did she fall from?
It's broken.
Her body's smashed to talk. It's a wonder she's still breathing.
All I saw was the corona, not her origin point. But look, she's healing already. Spontaneous regeneration.
What is she doing? Why does she have these weird things around her? Allegairn. Which, oh, it's him. Ugh, what was that? What did you do, Calistige? Calistegi? Calistige? His tone has become accusatory, suspicious. You open your eyes. The first thing you notice is this man's kaleidoscope of tattoos writhing across his forearms. He wears a long, dark coat, belted at the waist, supplies filling the pockets. His boots are worn and stained with years of travel. By the way, I think tattoos that are alive and have magical power in some way are one of the coolest concepts, like, ever. I love that shit. There are a few comic book characters that have that ability, and it's just totally dope. I approve, especially if you can implement it in the game somehow, to where you have abilities through tattoos, not just other people. That would be really cool. You blame me? She admitted an internal physiological reaction in response to the fall, probably related to that fantastic healing process. Obviously, Allegairn. Her voice rolls and hisses, and you have to rub your eyes to be sure that you're not seeing double. Faint echoes of her actions trail from her, each nearly mimicking her, though some act and react to stimuli that you can't perceive. Her vivid hair and outrageous clothing remain constant through these shadows. Oh, yes, it's obvious, Calistige. His voice is grim and clipped. Then he sees you looking at him. You're no ordinary mortal, we know that much. Start talking. His face is hard and set. I'm no ordinary mortal? What do you mean? You really don't know? He cocks his head to the side. I'm starting to think you're not her. Starting to think, Allegairn. Tell me, is it a novel experience? It's her face. I've never seen any other people rebuild themselves like that. Only the changing god could have healed so quickly. He sighs and rubs his face, trying to regain his composure. Maybe you could help me for a change. You know what this means to me. You're familiar with the word changing, Allegairn. It implies inconstancy. Thus, the changing god may well have changed. Several versions of her shrug, and she addresses you. You'll have to forgive him. He believes you're someone he once knew, even though it's painfully obvious to anyone that you are newly born. Her most solid self curtsies, while others bow or spin. I and my sisters and Calistige. This is Allegairn. We are explorers, knowledge seekers. That's how we came to be in this room. If I'm not mistaken, you are what we call a cast-off. The changing god created you, body and mind. Your sire used your body for a time, then abandoned it for reasons of his own. When his mind departed for a new experience, you were born in his cast-off shell. Well, that's not good. It's kind of dreamlike labyrinth within a glowing specter. Let's ask what this place is. Oh, Jesus. A sanctum of your sires. The common belief is he has several such places throughout the Ninth World, possibly other worlds as well. We were only just able to gain entry to this one because of your grand entrance. And who is the changing god? Ha! That's something coming from you. She gives him a sidelong glance. The changing god is your sire, dear. He discovered a path to immortality long ago, a means to transfer his self to a new body of his own creation. I don't think he knew, however, that when he abandoned one body, another mind was birthed to fill the void. Oh, he knew all right. He eyes you up and down coldly. The only thing the changing god cares about is himself. He doesn't give a single thought for those he leaves behind. If you knew the changing god through my body, why do you keep referring to my sire as he? We know your creator through legend and research. He's taken the form of men, women, visitants, and other things. His form is fluid, as his name suggests, but the stories about the changing god always refer to him. That's a good explanation, I guess. It's easier. Aligern shrugs. You are a woman. The changing god is himself. Yeah, I mean, it's easier, but why him? Why couldn't it be her or it? They? Any other number of pronouns? Are there other cast-offs? Dozens, hundreds, who can say? Your sire has been doing this for several centuries. Though if all of them were born the way you claim to have been, it's a wonder any of them survive. So you say, I was born when the changing god left, but why am I not dead? I used a cipher to slow your fall further, but the damage still would have killed an ordinary person. But think about it. If you're the kind of person who can make your body into anything you want, what do? If you've constructed bodies for centuries, you want to make each one of them better than the last. You want to live forever. You're not going to let your life end by accident. No, you'll make strong bodies. Fast, powerful. Maybe throw in regeneration while you're at it. The changing god has always been vain. He rarely stays long in a shell that doesn't suit his self-image. She looks you up and down, her smile suddenly unnerving. Perhaps the changing god fled because he didn't want to wear those scars of yours. Scars, huh? Okay, where is he now? If he abandoned your body, then his consciousness fled to another. He eyes you keenly. Oh, do stop! The look she gives Aligern is equally piercing, amplified by the withering glares of her sisters. If there's one thing we know about the changing god, dear, it's that he always has a contingency. This child was born here. The object of your obsession will have been reborn somewhere else. Well, how can you be sure this body's a cast-off? You mean, aside from your miraculous reformation? For one thing, there's your tattoo. All cast-offs have one, though its purpose is beyond me. And then, of course, there's your delicious naivete. She could be faking it. You don't live hundreds of years without learning to lie convincingly. Oh, for... She sighs in exasperation, then says to you, what do you think? Are you a newborn child, or are you a powerful immortal whom death has robbed of his memories? Aligern crosses his arms and growls. Fine. What do you think? I survived that fall and have skills and powers I don't recall learning. What if I am the changing god? There's so much I don't know or remember. I think I must be a cast-off. You obviously knew the changing god, Aligern. What do you think? Am I him? And then I honestly don't know. Yeah, what if I am the changing god? I knew it! He looks at Callistege, triumph lighting his eyes. I knew it! Silvertide raised a small amount. So I guess there's tides in the world, and I guess this probably has something to do with my, hence the name, Torment, Tides of Numenera. This probably has something to do with, like, my alignment, whether I'm good or evil or whatever, but I'm sure it's a little bit more unique. To be clear, even though I backed this because I was really excited for it, I really liked the original game, I don't know a lot about it. I tried to avoid as much as I could. I didn't play the beta. I've never seen this before. So this is all new to me. She shakes her head scornfully. She said, what if, Aligern? Honestly, would one who has lived so cautiously for so many years casually admit her identity to people like us? We'll see. If you are the changing god, you'll have a lot to answer for, to a lot of people. His voice is grim, and then he looks steadily at her, resentment apparent in every line of his frame. He crosses his arms and sighs. What was that blast of energy when I woke? As I was telling my colleague, it was obviously a physiological reaction of some kind. I've never witnessed the birth of a cast-off, but yes, it could very well have been caused by your nascent consciousness. Don't worry. I don't believe it caused you any real harm. Or at least not to me. Really? You've been more abrasive than ever since we came in here. He shoots her a sidelong look. She just can't empathize with other people unless she's experimenting on them. Are you sure that surge didn't hurt you? If it did, it was damaging our minds, though how you check if it carked her, I wouldn't say. Tough to find normalcy there. At least we know it didn't hurt Alagern. That skull's as thick as organic stone. Do you know anything about the tides? Yes, please explain the tides to me. I've heard that term before, a subject your sire studied in great depth. I'm afraid it isn't my field of inquiry. I want to ask about something else. Before I woke, I was in some kind of dreamlike labyrinth with a glowing specter. With how hard you hit the ground, I'm surprised that's all you saw. All right. Why do you seem to hate the changing god so much? His face is calm, but his voice is bitter and tired. You should know, shouldn't you? You've ruined lives, committed crimes, and now it seems like you've forgotten the harms you've engineered. You've left a trail of the dead and dying behind you. She and her echoes share an expression that is equal parts amused and appalled. She's not the changing god, Alagern. If falling from the sky didn't kill me, is there anything that can? An excellent question. Having seen your regenerative abilities in action, I suspect they are primarily physical, a regrowth. If that's the case, you'd be unable to survive most varieties of psychic or molecular decomposition, disintegration, conflagration, and so forth. Degenerative diseases could pose a problem, and I know of several entities capable of psychic destruction. As she speaks, a vision flashes into your mind. It's not yours, exactly. Somehow, you know this is a memory of the changing gods. You're in a dark room, lit by a myriad of blinking lights and holograms from the many machines surrounding you. What about a body that can withstand the sorrow's attacks? Says a voice. It seems to be coming from one of the machines. No, you reply. The thing has no respect for barriers of any kind, physical, temporal, psychic. This is the only way. With a series of gestures, you bring up an image of a crystalline pod. If the resonance chamber works, it will give us the power to stop the Sorrow's hunt once and for all. We just need the right focal point, a catalyst. The memory fades. Callistige is still talking. You realize that the device you saw in the memory is identical to the one behind you now. It looks just like the Spectre had described it, a transparent sarcophagus inside a crystalline dome, with mechanical arms arrayed around it on a metal ring. Unfortunately, the dome is shattered. The sarcophagus is cracked, and one of the arms is in pieces on the floor. Whatever its function, it clearly needs repair. Or flesh-eating viruses. One presumes disfigurement by the iron wind would likewise be devastating enough to... I think she gets the point, Callistige. I saw a vision of myself in another time and place just now. You didn't see it too, did you? I saw you stare into space while Callistige graphically described all the ways you could die, but that's about it. He snorts. I only noticed because I did the same thing. Do either of you know anything about the sorrow? I've had my share of sorrows, but never the sorrow. What's that, a disease? Her mouth compresses in a tight line. I know nothing about it. Do either of you know how to fix that crystal chamber there? Alagern chuckles. Then, firm and certain, he says, not likely, though it might not be impossible. You need people with the appropriate knowledge. I'm sure the cult of the changing god will hold the answer. Her distaste is evident in the expressions of her echoes, although the face of the one in the lead remains carefully impassive. You turn to the insane to help a newborn. Where's your judgment, Alagern? I would take her to the Order of Truth. The Order of Truth? Are you mad? They would sooner take us apart. What's the Order of Truth? Knowledge seekers, the learned who try to wrest secrets from the hearts of the prior worlds. They gather in the city to exchange their findings and help humanity to build a brighter future. She smiles brightly. Our friend Aligern here was once one of them. Frauds, quacksalvers, and charlatans. They don't have all the answers, and I'd not trust them with the changing God's secrets. You're just angry that they couldn't help you with yours. Her echoes tinkle laughter. But I am being too cruel, dear Aligern. Let us take our new friend to the Order. What's the cult of the changing God? Despite what she says, they're not insane. They're eccentrics. She laughs, but he soldiers on. They're worshippers of, well, you, or your sire, the changing God. They devote their lives to understanding your kind. Okay. We got to decide which way we want to go, and I think we're going to make that decision next time on Button Down Gaming. So, won't you come back and watch me play with myself?